Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween.
Wait for the announcement to come in. Here we go.
It's almost time, kids.
Almost time, kids. Actually, it is time, kids. For the Ron Ross Radio Show podcast. Woo! Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ron Ross, and with me, of course, is the executive producer and my partner in crime, John Yaglensky. John, in a world, we're going to get to that in a second. In a world.
In a world.
In a world. And a little bit of trivia for you. That is from Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. See, John Carpenter, there was no Mike Myers in that one, and people were very disappointed. He was trying to start a anthology series. So every year there'd be a Halloween : something else, and it would be, another scary story. But people rejected that film so much. He was like, all right, okay, well, let's go back into the well with Mike Myers.
Oops.
We tried something, it failed. Which happens, of course. Thank you so much for joining us live on our podcast on Facebook. We're also on YouTube. Please share with your friends, share the link, please subscribe, follow us, all of those things. And then the audio version, of course, of this will be pardon me. You can listen to wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple or on Odyssey and any other place that you like to get your podcast. You'll have the audio version. But today we're back. We're on a different time on Thursday because look, John's got stuff to do, and he's got a life and a job, and he's the producer of this whole thing. I don't know how to twist the knobs and do any of that stuff. You saw me post a Facebook Live video where I didn't turn the mic on.
Yeah, it's always good to flip the switch before you talk.
Wow, I just couldn't believe it.
I mean,
I couldn't believe
how long
it.
have you been in broadcasting?
You know what? Did I not have my headphones on? I didn't have my headphones on. That was
I was watching at the time too.
That was the big giveaway. And then I realized what happened when I looked at it, and I couldn't hear the audio, and it says no audio with this video, and I'm like, but I am like, oh no, and I
just
so that's why. So that's why I leave it all up to John. John's the expert on all of these things with the podcast. I do want to mention I got a great compliment a couple of weeks ago from a gentleman who said he missed listening to me in the morning. The podcast is the podcast. We have a great time, and I now work afternoons. But he said he missed listening to me in the morning, and it was a tradition with his kids and going into school. And he brought up the positivity of the brightness of the show that used to be on the morning show, and hopefully I'm bringing that to this. I want to keep that going with this, and I want to ever take it down it's a family friendly program, and I want to stay doing that because I thoroughly enjoy doing that, and it's always great to hear from people who say, and I know this is very self-serving, and I apologize. I'm just going to mention it, that I want to try to keep the mission of the show exactly where it was with the morning show, which is we just have a lot of fun and talk about stuff that hits us that's going on. So
idea,
yeah, go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's the idea.
Oh, okay,
keep it friendly, keep it happy.
And I noticed that, and again, this has happened to me several times, that John has a joke or something, and I've seen comments that fly by that completely go over my head, and I completely miss them. And then I go back and as I'm watching the podcast, I'm like, oh, that was a good line. I should have acknowledged it. So I feel really bad about that.
No, it's fine. I mean, again, like we call it in our Intercat podcast. Oh, by the way, shameless plug.
Yeah, absolutely.
We call it managing the delicate flow, and the host has to manage the delicate flow, and that's what you're doing. And then a lot of times you just miss.
I miss a lot of stuff.
A little comment.
I miss a lot of
here
stuff
or there. Yeah.
All right. So to catch you up on things that are going on, let's see.
Okay.
Greatest Wife Ever and I we had been invited to this great Halloween party, and we had been invited to this Halloween party in years past, and we never been able to make it for one reason or another. So I just get the greatest wife ever says, "Were we invited to this guy's Halloween party?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was invited. She wasn't." And it was just an oversight. It was just an oversight. Right. All right. But since it wasn't on my radar, she had now 2 days to prep or 3 days to prep for this. And there was a theme. The theme of it was under the big top. So, of course, the first thing I went to was like, oh, well, I'll just be a ringmaster.
Really? You didn't go to Pee Wee Herman?
No. Oh, good call.
First thought.
Oh, you know what? No, I did not go to Pee Wee Herman. First thing was ringmaster, and then the greatest wife ever is like, I said, she said, well, I could be the bearded lady, but she doesn't like to do that. She doesn't like to, and I get it. I'm like, you know what? I'll totally be the bearded lady. Let me be the bearded lady. But then we didn't. We decided that I was going to be a lion tamer, but not a very good one. And she was a lion. So I had these scratches and blood on my face, and my shirt was in tatters, and she was the lion. And she looked like she was a beautiful lion, and she had her little lion makeup on, her cat makeup on, and she curled her hair, and she has long blonde hair. So she had this mane, and she looked fantastic. She had the ears, and she made a tail and all that stuff. And I brought a chair, we bought a whip, and I wanted a pith helmet. I kept asking her to try to find a pith helmet or a costume that had a pith helmet, and they were just too expensive. We just couldn't do it. So we've got this, looks like a ranger cap, if you'd be out on a safari kind of thing. Anyway,
yeah, that worked.
It worked, right? I bought and we had a khaki shirt that I got from or she got from Goodwill, and we shredded that, and I had some khaki pants, and we were off to the races. That was fine. We show up. There were 5 animal trainers at this party.
So apparently somebody else had this idea.
Every time, including the host, but every time we looked it up, it showed what looked like a ringmaster with the top hat and the red coat as the animal trainer. And I'm like, I don't think that's it. There was another guy who had a khaki shirt and khaki pants, and he had a pith helmet on, and he had his whip, and his wife was dressed as an elephant. And
where did he go? No, here we go. Oh,
was the audio still okay?
Oh, there you go. Okay, you're back.
Okay, yeah.
I was having a moment of panic. I thought I was going to have to be the John Taylor radio show here for.
No, you disappeared too on mine.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Did my audio go out?
It could be either one of us. Who knows?
Okay. All right.
Thank you to Facebook and StreamYard and YouTube. One of
yes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So the I just thought that was interesting, but it was a great party, and the food was fantastic, and it was a lot of fun. And
it says brain freeze.
Yeah. Well,
exactly what happened.
That's just me trying to have a thought.
Yeah. Right.
So,
goodness.
So that was a lot of fun, but I mean, I kind of threw the greatest wife ever a curveball there at the last minute, because I'm like, oh yeah, we were invited to that. I said we were going. Facebook invitation.
Don't do that.
He's like, you need to tell me these things. I'm like, I thought we had this conversation.
Yeah, don't do that.
We probably did.
No.
Probably didn't have the conversation. So we have another one that we're going to this weekend, and it's another theme. And this one is alliterative. I think I told this story. It's alliterative, not alliterative. It's has to be, your costume has to start with their first name.
Yeah, you mentioned this.
Did I mention that?
Yeah, and it still puzzled me,
because I was going to be I'm Ron Ross, and I was going to be Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit,
and the greatest wife ever. Her name is Jennifer. Jennifer Ron. She was going to be Jessica Rabbit. It was going to work out perfectly until somebody they mentioned it. We were at this person's house who's hosting the party, and they're like, "Oh, you could be Roger Rabbit, and she could be Jessica Rabbit." And we went, "Well, now we can."
Well, now, yeah,
we can't now. Now that everybody knows.
Why would you do that?
So we've got something else, and we got something else pretty cool, and I'm pretty excited about it. And oh look, Jennifer Skull no asking if we get to have, and she's commented by the way on our Facebook on the podcast. Do we get to have our spooky Zoom room next week? John and I are still working on it. We're working on it, Jennifer. If we can do it, we're going to do it.
Can I point out Jennifer has a new lovely Facebook profile picture now? I had become so used to seeing the other one. So
yeah, right. No, I know. This is
switched it up.
I'm like, that's a press shot. She's got
I know, right? Nice kind of that leaning on the wall sort of thing.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Very stylish. Well done.
So that's what was going on in my world. Jan, last week, what happened? Were you on vacation? You were not.
Yeah, you can't really call it vacation when you're on a work cruise.
It was a work cruise. Okay.
So there were elements of vacation.
Sure. Okay.
And then there were a lot of elements of working.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were always on. Like my wife, after we got back from the cruise, said to me, I could tell you were a little bit stressed. And that's not normal on a cruise.
Well, no. Yeah. On a cruise, you're supposed to be relaxing, but you were working.
Right. But I'll give you the highlights of the cruise. The highlights for me, at least. Well, first of all, very successful work cruise. So great.
Do you like cruising? Do you go cruise? Do you do a lot of cruises?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay.
Another one scheduled in February with my wife, and then another work cruise that we're planning for 2024 to Alaska.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. But all right, so here's the highlights. Other than being successful. We did a wine blending and tasting at Bahama Barrels in Nassau at the Gray Cliff Mansion, which was really cool. We blended our own different kinds. You know, you could blend sweet wine with dry wine and red, white. No, you know what? If you put a little bit, like a 5% with a 95%, there's some interesting things you could do. So you basically blended 3 wines together, 3 different stuff.
This isn't a Coors Light, by the way. This is actually a bottle of water.
No,
it's water that I got at the bush anyway. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I digress.
No, you can blend things together. Anyway, you got to take away your favorite blend, whatever you liked together. They actually allowed you then to make a full bottle of, and they corked it and you took it with you. So that was fun. Then the other thing was on, and this is like a slight promo for Royal Caribbean, on Perfect Day Coco Cay, which is one of their stops, their island that they have.
Right. Yeah. They have an island. Right.
Apparently, I did what is the largest water slide in North America.
Wow. Oh my God.
14 stories into the stratosphere.
How long does it take to get down?
Oh, not that long.
How fast do you think you're going?
You know what? I did say afterwards, it would have been cool for them to have had a radar gun about 3/4 of the way done.
Your speed.
Yeah, your speed. 3/4 of the way down. I literally was thinking in my head, don't black out. Don't black out. Don't
really?
So embarrassing. Like I was going so fast, and I just was thinking, oh God, this is really fast. I don't know if I'm built for this. And then right at the end, like you're going counter or clockwise, not counterclockwise. And then suddenly they decide to turn you the other way and go counterclockwise.
Right, to cancel
so you're
the
like
Disney.
halfway up on the water slide wall. Like holy crap. I think that's basically to slow you down, and then they sort of bring you back and forth and then shoot you out the bottom.
Did you have the atomic wedgie and all wedgies?
Yeah, the wedgie, and then you know, all the amoeba and whatever, the horrible water goes up your nose, and I'm sure probably sick right now. But anyway, so that was a little bit crazy. It was fun.
Did your wife go down
the one? Wait, the one where you're standing there and the bottom completely drops out.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, I did that one too.
No, thank you. That's okay. So, and this was work. Okay, cool.
Well, that was the one day that I got to actually spend about 3 or 4 hours to myself.
Okay.
Jennifer says she loves water slides, by the way.
I like water slides. They're fun. They're interesting. I'm always scared that I'm going to snag on something, that there's going to be a bolt or a screw that's sticking out that nobody spotted. And of course, I'm going to find it. I always have that. If I'm going at a high rate of speed, I have that irrational fear that that's going to happen to me in a water slide.
Yeah, you know what? Along those lines, so you picture water slides being like super smooth. But going down, I swear, on my back, I could feel every seam.
I bet. Right,
and it actually is pretty rough on you.
It's a little rough, I bet.
Especially going like 70 miles an hour or whatever the heck I was going down 14 stories. Plus, you had to walk up 14 stories to get to that. So,
right. Oh, you know what? I coughed and I didn't use my cough button.
You do have a cough.
Here we go.
Wait, go ahead. Cough. Hey, look at that. It works, folks.
Oh my gosh. That came from the depths. So I wanted to take a minute. Today is October 26th. And I wanted to take a minute to wish Mark K a very happy birthday. Today is Mark's birthday. I believe he's 10 years younger than I. So he just turned 49. But Mark and I met on Hot 99.5 in Washington, D.C. It was his show. It was the Hot Morning Mess with Mark and Chris Gamble. She was the co-host, and I was the producer and the news guy. And the very first show, when he introduced me, he called me Big Ron Ross, and his wife continues to call me that to this day. Which they thought was hilarious because I'm not big at all. I mean, I'm big now. I mean, because after the pandemic, I put on a few pounds. But at the time, I was not big. I'm not very tall. And that was just the the big joke of Big Ron Ross. But anyway, Mark, I'm probably one of the most fun I've had on the air. That was, it was just hilarious. I've never laughed harder. It was just a great time working with Mark and Chris, and then and our various assistant producers, and which I'm still Facebook friends with all of them and talk to them. And then our stunt guy, Teapot Tim. I was just reviewing him today. Teapot Tim wound up. He had been arrested. He caused a traffic jam with all of these stunts. This was stunt radio in 2001, 2, 3. But anyway, Mark has moved on after we were summarily fired from that radio station. We had the highest ratings we had never had, but I guess they just didn't want to pay that kind of money for those two. So they moved on. So he moved to Florida, Jacksonville, and he was working on the Big Ape, WAPE Jacksonville. And he was doing a morning show there, and then he would start filling in. And years ago, when we worked together and I will take credit for his career, absolutely. Years ago, when we would get in these talk topics on the show in DC on a top 40 music station, we would get in these talk topics, and I said, dude, talk show is where you need to go. That is your political talk is where you need, and that's what he's doing now. So now he's a political talk show host. And he's got a podcast, and he's got 1,000 things. And I'm really proud of him and his career and his and where he's gone. He's doing a great job. And I'm really, especially because on a personal note, he just got married when he first started, and we first started working together. And now 2 kids, and they're wonderful kids, and he's great parents. It's just amazing. So anyway, happy birthday, Mark. I'm done gushing about Mark A. Good dude. And he's doing a lot. So happy birthday to him. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
John.
Yes, Ron.
I have to ask you, be honest, please. Like you wouldn't, but I hate that phrase. It's like, do you want me to be honest? No, I would like you to lie to me.
Sometimes you want somebody to lie to you.
Yeah, well, when they're talking about,
I look good in these pants.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. How do you feel?
Do
How
I
do you
look
feel in
fat?
them?
Do I look fat in this shirt?
I
No.
never did that. No.
No.
How do you feel it? Are you comfortable in that? Don't answer my question with a question.
Right.
No, she doesn't do that. I'm
Easy.
always, look, she'll ask me my opinion and I will give her my opinion.
By the way,
I like the
saying
brown
I
one
want
better
my
than the
wife-
black one or whatever.
I want my wife to lie to me. I was not saying I would lie to her. Like I was
Oh,
saying,
agreed. Oh,
"Well, I look
100%.
good in these pants."
100%.
Yes, honey, you look
Absolutely.
great in this pants.
No, you don't look pregnant.
Do you see
Ron.
my belly at all here? No. No, I
No.
don't. You look great.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, had a couple pictures on the cruise
Yeah.
my wife bought.
Yeah.
I'm like, those will never see the light of day.
Why?
I don't know what happened.
What
But I
happened?
was pulling back the jacket. They made me put my hand in my pocket or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was exhaling in all three pictures or I am actually bigger than I think I am, but there was
But
this,
you've been running. You've lost
there
all
was
the
this
weight.
like round mound that was just sticking out above my pants. And I don't know whether I didn't cinch them up or something, but man, like those
muffin
will
top.
never see the
Yeah.
light of day. Let me tell you,
Well, now you got to send them to me.
it's not happening.
Come
I'm going to delete them.
on, John. You're looking at
Digital
this every
pictures,
week, man.
They never existed as far as I'm concerned.
So, okay. So here's my question, though.
Go ahead. Sorry.
How badly do you think you've procrastinated on doing a project?
Oh, I do that all the time.
No, but how long do you think you've waited to do a project?
Like literally to the day of. Sometimes.
My point is, you see a
okay.
project, you want to do it, and you put it off. How long do you think you've put it off?
You mean like something maybe you've seen your house and
Yeah, weeks, months,
years.
Years?
In some cases.
Okay, good.
Like
All
my
right,
garage.
Yeah.
Is something I go into all the time and I think,
Yeah.
no,
I really need to. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. My shed.
But go ahead. Oh, so it is a shed thing?
My shed. I put a door. The door had dry rotted, and so we put a new door on it on Mother's Day. And I want to say it was 2013. And I haven't painted it. I haven't painted it since. Okay. So luckily we don't have a homeowners association, so that I haven't been cited for urban blight just yet. But here's the thing. I've got a tree in my front yard. It's right next to the front door. And it's the one that I used to put out Christmas lights. I have a carpet of low shrubbery, and I would put the blanket lights, the white blanket lights out. And then this one tree, it's a conical shaped tree, and it's perfect for putting Christmas lights on. So I put like 3 strings of white lights and then 3 strings of colored lights and all the various blinkings, and it looks wonderful. So 2 years ago, after Christmas, I never took the lights off the tree. I just left them on, and I thought, well, as long as I'm not lighting them, that's fine. Last year, I hadn't trimmed the tree, so it had grown out, and the Christmas lights were buried inside, and that was last year.
Okay.
So I didn't light the lights because I was embarrassed about the tree that I hadn't trimmed. So this week, I finally pulled out the ladder. I pulled down all of the Christmas lights off, and that's right. It's October. It's almost Halloween, and I finally pulled the Christmas lights off that I had up for 2 years straight. And pulled out the hedge trimmer. Okay. How long do you think it took for me to trim that tree? Just make the ballpark guess. Up on a ladder, trimming it up, got the electric trimmer out, not counting the sweeping up and the clippings and all that stuff.
I'm going to say 20 minutes.
Not even 10, not even 8 minutes. I timed it for me to trim that stinking tree.
What are you saying?
I put it off for 2 years. I put it off.
Oh boy.
And it took me 8 minutes, not counting. And then I had my yard waste bags and I had my rake I had to go buy a rake. I hadn't had a rake in a while.
You bought a rake.
I bought a rake. I bought 2 rakes. I bought the hard rake and then I bought the big wide rake. And raked up my clippings and picked them all up. And because that's one of those videos that I watch all the time on YouTube now, these landscapers who stop by and they trim up people's yards who can't do it. And they mow the lawn.
Yeah. You and Greg love those things.
Trim up the sidewalk and stuff like that. And so I'm picking up the clippings, and Greg's wife ever standing there, and I said, this doesn't go nearly as fast as it does in the videos because they speed up.
Right. You needed to tape it and then speed it up.
8 minutes. That's all it was. That is literally all it was. 8 minutes. 8 minutes out of my life, and I waited 2 years to do it. I was just, and I'm like,
don't do that anymore.
I just keep kicking myself. I'm like, good. And I walk by it now and I'm like, 8 minutes.
Well, you won't do that again, right?
No.
Now that you've proven to yourself it's 8 minutes worth of
Shed's
work.
not painted.
Oh, well, that takes a little bit longer.
No, you're right.
Power painter or something.
And I don't know if we're in the time of year. Now I'm talking to myself in the fact, well, you can't paint in the winter.
Actually, it is the time of year.
Is it now in the fall?
Fall's a better time to paint.
Fall's a better time to paint. Well, it rains all the time. Every time I wanted to go, it was raining.
Okay.
Right? Every time.
Yeah.
No, not every time. So there you go. There's my procrastination story. Okay. I had something happen to me last week.
All right.
That hasn't happened to me. Goodness. No, it's happened to me 2 other times. And that is, and let me just pull back the curtain a little bit on the radio industry, is everything's on computers now. So there's no turntables, CD players, tape players, none of that stuff. All the music, all the commercials, all of that stuff is on a computer. And sometimes you have more than one computer. You have one so you can be on the internet, and then one, to record your phone calls, and then one that has all the music and all the commercials, or what we call spots, and all of that stuff. So if there is a computer failure, it's an issue, especially when it's on the air. And this happened on E21 last week.
Oh my!
Because I'm just like, and I was in a commercial break. I just spoke. I went into the break and said, hey, did a promo, and go to key103radio.com and click on the features tab. I hit the button on the board that starts the computer to go into the next commercial. It's playing the commercial, and then nothing. Screen's frozen. I have a dead board. I'm pressing all the buttons. It's not advancing it. So I use the mouse and try to click on the play button that's on the screen, and it clicks it, and it starts and then stops. And I've got nothing. And I'm hitting the monitors, and you're what you're listening to in the studio is you're listening to the air signal.
Right.
So you hear what's actually on the air.
Right.
So it's not like we were knocked off the air because the transmitter was still transmitting.
Right.
It was the board. And I'm like,
what did you do?
I'm calling my boss and, 911 and, what's going on, dude? And he's like, I'm getting a silent sense. I'm like, yeah, that's because we're not on the air. And I just sat there and goes, he said, I've made IT aware of the problem. So, yeah. So next thing I know, song comes on.
Okay.
The next song comes on, but then also the spot set, the commercials start playing. So it's on a separate, the faders
simultaneously.
Right. So I had to turn. I found which one the spots were, and I turned that one down.
Okay.
And then I had to reschedule all the spots that we missed in the. But anyway, off the air, 7 minutes.
So explain. Wait, one thing I'm just trying to get straight in my head here. So like the mic didn't work. It just took that off too. Like
yeah. No, dead board.
You were filled with the whole board was dead.
Dead board. Nothing was happening.
So can I tell you?
Yeah.
This is a recurring nightmare that I have. I'm not even kidding. I don't know if other radio or former radio people have this nightmare, but occasionally I will be working at a radio station. It will usually be like a facsimile of something I worked at like 10, 20 years ago. And I will go to put the next commercial or song on or something like that. I will press the button and it doesn't fire. And I'll be like, okay, that's odd. And I'll go and I'll press the next button and that doesn't go. And then I start continuously trying to find something and then I can't find the next song or I can't and eventually I wake up screaming. No, not screaming, but I mean, I wake up.
Yeah. Work dreams, stress. I've had those. I've had when I've been sent to walk into a studio that I know nothing about and I'm supposed to be on the air. And I don't know where any of the music is.
Right.
And I'm looking at a stack of CDs, for some reason I'm dreaming in the 90s. And I'm looking at a stack of CDs. None of them are the correct ones that are supposed to go on the air. None of them are any of the currents. None of them are on the playlist. I don't have a playlist. Right. And I'm like, and a song's fading and I have nothing to put in there. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to play this and it's completely off format and they're going to be really mad. Right. And, I've had that stress. So this happened. Like I said, this has happened to me 3 times now. Once it happened at Sirius XM. I took an entire satellite channel off the air.
Oh,
but the microphone worked. The computer did not work. All right. So no music. Nothing there. Now this was satellite, so there were no commercials, but no music. And I had 2 CD players, but no CDs. There was no CD backup. So I'm sitting there and I'm live on the air and I'm just like, well, this is interesting because I've never had this happen before. The computer's not working, so I have no music. So I called engineering while I was on the air.
Okay.
I called them. I'm like, guys, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay. So I pulled up YouTube and started playing a song off of YouTube. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. I played a song off the old computer system.
Okay.
That was still coming up through the board because we had switched to a new one. Yeah. So I started playing. So now I'm trying to think of songs to play that we still had in the format that I could play.
It is
until it came back.
Yeah.
So then I was told the chief engineer, the head muckety muck of the whole thing, he is, well, if you'd have just said, hey, I'm going to go silent in 30 seconds, the backup would have come. There would have been a silent sense. Because I was talking, there was no silent sense. Oh. So the backup, because they have a system in place. Oh. And the backup would have come on and then everything all would have been right with the world. But because I kept yakking and I was panicking.
Which I could see why you would.
Which and when I just had the presence of mind, and I'm like, oh, well, if this ever happens again. But they made sure it never happened again.
Wow.
And then I had an instance of taking, I was on the air at DC 101 in Washington, DC. And that whole station, both stations, we were struck by lightning. The whole thing went down for like 15 minutes. And I had no phones. I had no way to get in touch with anybody. All the electricity was out in the building.
Right.
And, but, and I had, a dead board. And so finally I hit the button on the phone and somebody goes, hello. And I'm like, hello. And they're like, is this DC 101? Yeah. You're off the air. I'm like, yes, I know. Yeah, and I gave this person the engineer. I didn't have a cell phone.
Okay.
I gave them the engineer's home phone.
And said, could you call them? And
you got to call him and tell him we're off the air.
Well, that's some trust. Good. Well,
he happened to be walking by. He listens. He had the radio on because he's monitoring the whole time. He happens to be walking by his kitchen and notices we're off the air.
Yeah.
So he calls the station, of course, on the hotline, and I'm not answering because it's not ringing.
Right. You're not seeing it.
So
right.
he calls Montgomery County Police and they show up. I'm just walking around the building now. I'm just walking around the building like, I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. This is, I don't know what to do. Both
That's
stations, AM and FM, WWDC, AM and FM in Washington, D.C. were off the air. And I was the operator on duty. At the time, I had signed the transmitter logs, taken the transmitter readings,
Right.
It was me.
And the police stopped by.
The police came. I walked by the front and they're pulled up and doors are open.
Right.
And I didn't think the guns were drawn, but they didn't know what was going on in the building. And they see me and I get hit with a flashlight and I'm like, I opened the door. I didn't want to walk out because it's an auto lock. I didn't want to get locked out of the building.
You're out permanently then at that point.
And he's Pat the engineer is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And so then they all came in because they didn't know something
was going to be one of these.
Yeah,
Mr. Ross, are you done jamming? Sorry, that was
you. That's your story.
All right.
Oh, we're a little over time. Okay.
All right.
There you go. There's my oh, I did want to bring up. All right, very quickly. Then we'll get to the question of the day. We are going to have a pumpkin carving contest. So you have your jack-o'-lantern all carved, and I will post it. And I ask you just post it up on our Facebook page, and then vote for it, and we will have the results on our Halloween show. And it's just for pride, not prize, but vote for your favorite pumpkin carving, so you can post those up on the Ron Ross Facebook page. If you would like, I would appreciate that. And I will post a picture of our pumpkin and I'll post that up so you can see it. And then that'll be your prompt to enter that. Okay. I did want to mention very quickly, Stephanie on Facebook said she was listening to me on Key 103, which is my afternoon radio show.
Right.
And we were talking about how the people going to the Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour movie were treating it like a concert. And they were dancing in the aisles and they had their phones out with the flashing lights. And people who wanted to go see the movie, some of them were not really super happy with the Swifties. So she said, we went to the Taylor Swift movie on Friday night. People were having a great time. Mostly behaving themselves. I will say that the parents who weren't reeling in their 8-year-olds were a problem. And then she said, will you go see it? The full production value of the show, set, stage design, and the costuming was unbelievable. I will probably go see it. Yeah, in the theater. I'd have to go see it. It looks amazing. And and see, and I know that there's a little backlash with her going to the Kansas City Chiefs games, dating Travis Kelce, and everybody is like, concentrating on football and not Taylor Swift. Look, she is the biggest pop star in the world. And if you think that she's going to show up at a game and a camera's not going to be on her, you're nuts. Of course.
You know what? I heard an interesting theory.
Yeah.
Which was that apparently she's managed by some sports management company.
Okay. And
so this may be like a PR kind of thing that it was actually.
No, that is very cynical. I'm not buying that.
I'm sorry.
That is very, very cynical.
I am.
No, I don't know.
She needs more exposure,
And then I want to say briefly about the Britney autobiography that's out. And she's dropped a lot of bombs in this. I don't know if I'm going to read it, but she's had a rough go of it. And it's interesting. It's sad that she had to go through a lot of the things that she went through. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, it's out there. I don't know if I'm going to read it or not. Could possibly, I don't know. We'll see. All right, here we go. It's time to get the gray matter working, fire off the synapses, engage frontal lobe, form new neural networks, utilize the cerebrum. As Pooh says, it's time to
think. Better with scratchy voice.
Yeah, John's had a rough voice, so I was really happy about that. Okay, very good. Here's today's question of the day. Yeah. This horror movie franchise based on real people has 6 films in the top 25 highest grossing horror films of all time, making it the biggest horror film franchise of all time. The most recent title coming out last month. What is this horror film franchise? Here it is one more time.
One more time.
This horror movie franchise based on real people has 6 films in the top 25 highest grossing horror films of all time, with the most recent title coming out last month. What is this franchise? And they don't all have the same title. So if you get one of the titles right, I will I'll give you credit for that.
All right.
All right.
Answer now.
All right, here we go.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Beep, 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 boom, boom. All right.
All right, here it is one more time. This horror movie franchise based on real people has 6 films in the top 25 highest grossing horror films of all time, with the most recent title coming out last month. What is this franchise? Here comes some answers.
First
what do we
answer.
got? Oh, look, see, Zach's my dude. Zach was always the first to answer the QOD all the time. The Conjuring. There you go. Nice.
Is that it?
Yeah, the Conjuring universe.
Okay.
The Conjuring universe. Yes, exactly.
So what were some of the other titles that you would have accepted?
All right, here we go. And number 25 was Annabelle, which is a prequel to the first Conjuring.
Okay.
Number 22 was The Nun 2, which was a spin-off. That's the one that just came out in September. The Nun 2.
Okay.
Number 15 was Annabelle Creation, which is a prequel to the prequel. All right. And number 13 was The Conjuring. Number 12, I'm sorry. Yeah. And number 12 was The Conjuring 2. And number 9 of top horror films of all time, top grossing, was The Nun.
Which is weird. You know, if I were to guess, I would have never guessed.
I know. I was very surprised. That's
some of the
I
other
thought it was a curveball, but no, Zach is
he was the first answer too. So
he's super sharp. Yeah, he's on
other ones that we got was Jim.
Halloween. Yeah, of course. That's a good one.
Celeste.
The Exorcist just had one that just came out, right?
And Sandy
said The Conjuring. Okay.
So
yeah, so the Conjuring, apparently the protagonists in this are based on real people who would investigate paranormal activities, and they were one of the investigators on the Amityville Horror.
Okay.
And yeah. Right.
But
also there's a lot of and I'm not going to say true or false or anything, but there's a lot of things that's out there debunking any of their research about anything paranormal, that none of it.
Yeah, I'm with Zach. I've not watched any of them.
Lucky guess, haven't watched any of them. That's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
I haven't seen Annabelle or the Nun. I won't watch The Nun because I went to Catholic schools.
Yeah,
but we did run across The Conjuring 2 that was on, and Greatest Wife Ever and we watched it, which brings up and The Nun was in that, by the way. The Nun. There's a picture, and then there's a scene with the picture, and of course, nowadays, Greatest Wife Ever and we heckle the film. We heckle the film and we heckle each other, and it's like she goes, "She's real. She's real. It's not a picture. It's not a picture."
Oh my God.
So we're doing that. We do that the whole time now, and it's like, nope, he did it. This person did it. No. We're very
you do the Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
Right.
But that brings up a question because of your favorite horror movie. Now, I saw The Exorcist back in the day. I saw the TV edited version. I didn't see the original because 73, I was 10 years old. 9 years. But my parents, God bless them, my dad had the book So I read the book, which is infinitely worse than any film you could come up with. Same thing with Jaws. I wasn't allowed to see Jaws either because apparently it was like super violent and horrible. So I read the book, which again is way worse way worse than the film ever could be. Sorry, Steven Spielberg, but the book is unbelievably.
Books tend to be that way because they're more detailed.
Yeah.
There's things that they can put in that you just can't.
Well, that's why I'm excited about the new Harry Potter, the reboot. They're making it a series on Max.
Yeah, so that they can include more detail.
Yes. Yeah. So you have one book will be like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Which is basically 4 2-hour movies. Yeah, you can get a lot of details in there. They're getting the Game of Thrones treatment. I love it. I can't.
I mean, it'll be interesting. It could be great, or it could be.
It's going to be excellent. Oh no, I can't wait.
Okay.
And you knew Warner Brothers couldn't let that tent pole.
Right.
And it was 2001, so it was 22 years since the first movie.
That long? Oh,
yeah. Since the first movie. Since Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or the Philosopher's Stone.
How does that mess with like the theme park stuff where you've got the originals versus, and then if you start introducing new characters and then you have to decide, do we replace some of the video with the new people because the new generation, like it creates all sorts of problems, really.
Oh, they wouldn't say problems. They would say opportunities.
I don't know. If you're in the theme park business, that could be millions of dollars of investment.
I guarantee you they've already thought this through.
All right.
It's already been thought. They already have a plan.
Like
there's an action plan. As soon as that
Pirates of the Caribbean, you know what I mean?
As soon as that actor gets cast for Harry Potter, right. So anyway, speaking of Harry Potter and that actor, he's actually in one of my favorite scary movies of all time. It's not a horror film, but it is a thriller and a scary movie, and it's a ghost story. It's called The Lady in Black, and it stars Daniel Radcliffe. Look it up, watch it. Yeah. It's great. It's really, really great. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and it's creepy, and you get stuck, down the back of your spine kind of feeling, and it's really, really good. Startles, good jump scares. It's really, really good. And then I'd have to say, the first time I saw The Ring was a man. And by the way, spoiler alert: if you've never seen The Ring, man, I'm giving it away.
I've been out there for quite a while.
It's a 15, 20-year-old movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Samara comes out of the television. I leapt off the couch and screamed like a child. Just, I mean, I can't. You can't take me to scary movies in the theater. By the way,
really,
I can only watch them at home now.
I'm
that old man. Hold on.
I don't do like a lot of the modern ones, but I'll tell you, I just watched Poltergeist on the
original. Yeah.
On the big screen later in the evening one night. And still some good stuff in there.
Yeah,
man.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
is that the one with the stacking of the chairs or the step into the light?
Step into the light. Yeah, really good.
But no, so what about you? I got it. Those two are right up there and was scariest movie.
I know, you got to go back to your youth. So I think the first time I saw the first Freddy movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that was pretty.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
It's intense. Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, I mean,
and you can't go to sleep. It's interesting premise too.
Don't go to sleep.
It'll get you in your dreams. Wow. Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Yeah, but that, and like the classics like Poltergeist, I think are my big time ones. I really didn't like being scared.
And yet it is a huge draw at the box office every single time.
But I do love haunted houses now as an adult, where I hated them as a kid.
Well, yeah, you're a kid.
I know, but I love going and
do you
kind of being scared a little bit and freaked out or surprised. I guess it's not even so much
surprise. Yeah, it's a startling. Yeah, no, I'll get startled. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Although the host I just mentioned earlier, Mark K, and his birthday,
Yep.
used to come into the studio. I'd be in a studio and it's quiet in there. Okay.
Mhm. Sure.
Doors closed, it's got all of this noise canceling, stuff on the walls, and it's quiet. And if I'm not doing anything and I'm just listening to anything and I'm typing or whatever, it's quiet. And he'd come in, Ron, I'm like, dude, you need to stop doing that.
I remember.
It would make me
trying to do
very angry, very angry.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
My parents used to scare us, my brother and me, because it was funny. It was fun. It was a joke, I guess, when we were kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of
But
course.
I never did that with our daughters. I did not want them to distrust me, the dad's there, I'm safe. So I never did that.
Okay.
Pull the rug out from underneath.
Right.
Did you do that?
I think, there were a couple times where we scared the kids a little bit.
No, never did.
I mean,
I never did that. No. It was funny because the daughter, the younger, would sit in the room, say we were watching some scary movie or whatever, and she would be in the room with us. She'd be on the love seat back behind us. Okay. But she wasn't watching. She wasn't looking at the television. She was looking at the reflection of the TV in the window. I don't know how that was better, but somehow she didn't feel like it was as scary as if she was. But I think there's been one or two movies that has scarred her for life because she's very scared a lot.
Yeah, some of them they can be pretty intense.
It can be intense. It can be intense. Yeah, you got to be careful with what is actually up on the screen.
Very nice.
But so anyway, what about you? The scariest movies? Just go ahead and throw it down in your in the comment section.
Honestly, I think the other thing I wanted to mention, because you brought it up, Jaws actually was one of the as a kid, and I can remember going. I may have told this already. Going to Daytona Beach after Jaws came out, like
oh my.
And literally we were in the water and got the whistle to get out of the water because of sharks. And I literally don't like going into the ocean to this day because
to this day. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't like any place I can't see my feet. I don't like
that's totally fair. Totally fair. I get that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I had to throw that in. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. All right, so what about now? If they make a movie about driving over the Bay Bridge, I won't go.
The Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Yeah,
I can't.
I
can't do it
over that. By the way,
what?
I've run.
You ran over it? Did you?
Like literally, and it's great. You can see down, all the way down to the ocean.
No.
Yeah.
We drove over it to get to Ocean City. There's a bridge that goes over the Chesapeake Bay.
Yep.
To get to the other side of the east, what they call the eastern shore of Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's a huge elevated bridge so that big ships could pass underneath it, and it's not a drawbridge. So you go up this huge span, and we drove over there to get to Ocean City. Everything was fine. We're driving back. Mm-hmm. And it's 3 lanes, and I'm in the center lane, and we start going up, elevating, and at the very top is the big suspension girders you can see, and it's flat at the top, right? Yeah. But going up, I just watched the Jersey walls disappear, and you just have these metal railings, guard railings, but it's not the usual guard railings, just these brown railings, and I saw that. And out of my peripheral vision, and greatest wife ever, she'll never go on the bridge with me again. And I'll never drive over it. But all of a sudden I'm white knuckling and I had tunnel vision. Right. And while I'm driving, I'm doing the speed limit. I'm sitting in the middle lane. Cars are passing me like I'm standing still. All right. They're zipping by me and she's just run. And I'm just like, I'm white knuckling on the steering wheel. And again, 55, center lane, haven't moved, nothing. She said, all the color drained from my face.
Right.
I'm not responding to her.
Wow.
She's ready to grab the wheel and hit the brakes. And then I get to the top.
Yeah.
And I was totally
And you're
fine.
okay.
And I was totally fine.
What people don't know
will never do that again. She will
literally,
and I won't drive on that bridge again. Yeah.
No, literally, they actually have a place where you can pull over and someone will drive your car over for you.
As a passenger, I'm completely fine.
Yeah.
But that's the first time that's ever happened. And then she looked it up, and apparently it's some sort of side effect. I don't know if any of this is true. But she looked it up, and it's a side effect of heart surgery.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's anxiety in general or what have you, but anyway, that's one of the things. Yeah. That, and I was on a crowded train to come home from DC, and it was standing room only, and I was in the lower portion of a double-decker car, and I'm sitting in the chair, and then I was just like, nope. And I got up. I said, you can have the seat. And I had to stand in the vestibule. I could not sit there. It was completely surrounded. It was 3 people deep in the aisle, and everybody's just standing there because everybody wanted to get home before the snow happened. It was on like 3 o'clock, the 3 o'clock train out of Union Station, Washington. And I just said, and I'm sitting there, I'm on my phone, I'm watching, Netflix. I'm trying to ignore everything that's around me. And I just couldn't do it. I was like, nope. And got up. Got up. And like, dude, you can have the. He goes, seriously? I'm like, yeah, you can have the seat. I'll stand. And I stood in the vestibule up in the, so I could just see out a window, and it was weird. So there you go. There
recognized it at least.
There are my neuroses. Let's enjoy those. Those are fun.
Right.
That, and one time I put on a hoodie that was too tight. Okay. I thought it fit, but it didn't fit. No, let me finish.
Okay. Sorry.
So I start to take it off, and it's getting stuck on my, and I couldn't get it up over my face, and I'm stuck in it. So I pulled it back down, and I got a pair of scissors, and I cut it off.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Really?
Cut it off and threw it away. Well, obviously I couldn't wear it anymore, but I was starting to panic with the thing up over my head. Wow. And Greatest Wife Ever wasn't home. And I'm like what am I gonna do? So I pulled it back down, and I found a pair of scissors, and I cut it off.
Okay. But you can laugh at it now.
I can laugh at it now. But that was full blown
wow.
Yeah, panic.
Yeah, that's not good.
That was a lot of fun. That was a good time. Good times, great oldies.
Good times, great oldies. Exactly.
You know what? We're winding down. So we started on time, and I want to end on time. But I do want to reiterate. Thank you so much for watching, and please share with your friends. Share the links. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us. And you can also listen to this wherever you get your podcasts. And we really, really, really appreciate you listening. And John and I are going to work on a plan for a Zoom room somehow. See if we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Or we got to work out the logistics. But I want to do that for Halloween. And if we can't, we're still going to have a Halloween show, right? On Tuesday on Halloween.
Yes.
Are you going to wear costumes, John?
No.
What?
I mean,
it's Halloween. I'm wearing a costume.
I don't have a costume. I don't do.
Well, now you have 5 days.
I'm gonna have to think about that one. No, I don't really know what I would possibly be.
I can't believe you were going to do a Halloween show with me and you didn't think to wear a costume.
No,
it's
I mean, what do I get my Phillies jersey out and wear my Phillies hat and be a sad, defeated Phillies fan?
Somebody said, I saw somebody online say, I shouldn't have said that I wanted the Orioles and the Phillies in the World Series because then look what happened. I'm like,
yeah, that's the problem. Did you notice I made the switch? I'm in college basketball mode already today.
Okay, good.
Yep, that's
nice.
It. All right. Sports, we're moving on.
I'm still on the Ravens until they disappoint me, and then my dad and I will go off. We do the negative texts back and forth. It's like, yeah, they're ahead. they're ahead by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, but watch, they're going to throw a
their defense is going to start giving up big long passes, and oh look, there's another first down. That's all we do is we text back and forth to each other all the bad things that happen. It's never like yay Ravens. It's always like, oh, of course, where was the pass protection?
Yeah,
we're terrible about that. That's hard.
That is weird.
All right, so look, thank you so much for listening. Again, obviously, it's a joy to bring this to you, and we really do appreciate you hanging out with us and putting up with our squirrelness and our squirreliosity. And we will be back on Tuesday at our regular time at 11 a.m. East, 8 a.m. Pacific, in costume. One of us will be.
Yeah, at least you will be, and maybe I'll
for the Halloween show. Ooh, Halloween show. Ooh.
That's right, Ron. I will be here.
There you go. Maybe you don't have to wear a costume, John. Maybe just do that. Just do that.
The evil voice. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Listen, please take care of yourselves and each other. Please be safe. Ron Ross, John Yaglinski. Love you, mean it. Bicycle.
Bye now. See you, everybody.